In the dead of night, when the moon is high and ill winds blow, and the banshees cry and the moonlight casts an unearthly glow, arise, my love, with tales of woe.
Good evening. It is 12 midnight, the paranormal hour. Welcome to Ghost to Ghost. I'm your host, Chief Lawson. Ghost to Ghost is a podcast to discuss all paranormal and parapsychology subjects. You can find Ghost to Ghost on all major formats, so tell your friends, tell your family. Come listen to Ghost to Ghost. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the midnight hour. It's time for Ghost to Ghost. Tonight, we have that long-awaited episode. Tonight is Randolph Asylum. And with me this evening as my co-host, I have Jennifer Verne.
Good evening.
I have Sierra Medley.
Hello.
I have Eric Knight.
Present.
And, of course, Heather Lawson.
Hello.
We'd like to welcome you tonight. This is a video podcast, so if you're just listening to the sound portion of this, if you go to YouTube, right now we're having a little trouble with YouTube. So if you go to the actual website, our website, and you go down to social media tab, and you click on the YouTube logo, it will take you to that page, and you'll get a chance to see all the video on this because you don't want to miss this. Trust me. So, again, tonight we're going to talk about Randolph Asylum. And I want to put this disclaimer out. I'm going to credit this to the Antiem Paranormal Society. Disclaimer, what we do is not as seen on TV. We are researchers, not actors. Okay, so September 5th, 2025, we journeyed to Winchester, Indiana, by way of one garage sale. Anyway, yeah, we all had to stop at the garage sale. So, the present that evening was myself, Heather, Andrew, Jennifer, Sierra, and Eric. Later on, we had some guest investigators join us, Lori, Justin, and Julie. Just a quick note, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We don't invite people to come out like some of the groups do. You have to be trained. The people that we brought out had been with us on previous investigations, have been trained. So they were guest investigators. Doesn't happen very often, but when you're in a place where you pay to play, and we need enough people to make it work, we go out to the people we've trained and ask them, hey, look, would you like to tag along? So they were there for a portion of the evening. So as you listen to some of the evidence we're going to present tonight, I want you to keep an open mind and think about these people at the Randolph Asylum. This is a totally different venue. I think everyone's a totally different venue, but this one definitely stands out a little bit. And I want to send a quick thank you to Ted, our tour guide. Ted was a cool dude. Yeah. Great guy, veteran. Thank him for his service. And he did fantastic. He's also a caretaker and overseer of another museum. And just a fantastic guy. I mean, they don't realize what kind of resource they have there. Well, Jennifer, I tell you what, would you like to, well, before I turn it over to you for history, one thing we get to do, and this is the first time we've done that on investigation, and I think everybody you can chime in and tell me if you liked it or not. We smoked a pork shoulder and made some pulled pork, and we brought that in, and we got to dine as a family. We consider ourselves a family, and we did really well. And that was there, and we could heat it up throughout the night. Randolph provides coffee pots, microwaves, stoves. I mean, they do you right. So
They do. It was a great setup, yeah.
It worked outstanding. So anybody have any comments on that before we move to history? All right. It's all yours.
Okay. So I had been wanting to do the Randolph Infirmary for years now. So I've been researching on and on for about 2 years to get this information. And so when Ted gave us the tour, Ted and I had a good time. We got to talk about about the residents who were there and the history. And I think it really helped. Sometimes we have issues about confirmation bias when we go into a place. But in this instance, I think knowing the residents, knowing the history, knowing their backstories really helped us connect with who was there.
I believe
on a much more personal level. So just a brief overview, and we'll probably touch on some of the history a little bit later when we go through some of the clips about the different residents we possibly encountered. But the Randolph County Poor Farm started in 1851. It burned down relatively quickly. Then they quickly rebuilt the second structure, very haphazardly, very shoddy workmanship in the brickwork and whatnot. They were under fired and whatnot, and they became dilapidated and started becoming a hazard and falling down. So they tore that down. And then the third and final building was built in 1898, 1899. And then it was fully open December of 1899. So really as of 1900 is when the current building that you see today was built. And originally, and Ted showed me this when we were downstairs, you could see the original back wall of the 1851 building.
Mm-hmm.
And it still got the Masonic logo above the back door. And I thought that was really cool because you can really see the transition from
And we'll try
wall.
to input a picture of that.
Yeah, definitely, because that was really cool. So in the 1820s, they had the massive cholera epidemic. And the Randolph County Infirmary was used as a morgue for those bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so all those bodies were brought in, and Ted was telling us the story about Uncle Bob and how the autopsies were done there and that the body fluids were poured into the dirt floor there because they didn't have drainage, right?
No different than a slaughterhouse.
Exactly. Well, that was actually used as the slaughterhouse before it became the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
So when they decided to end morgue services there because 3 of the residents of the facility ended up dying of cholera. And so they wanted that morgue shut down because they didn't want the rest of their residents infected. Pardon me. So then they put concrete over the dirt floor rather than remove the dirt floor.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 18 inches of concrete now on the bottom floor.
Wow.
So, and I didn't realize that part because when Ted was showing us the doorways, I'm like, those doorways are awful short.
Mm-hmm.
But then he explained to us that's because there's 18 inches of concrete. So below the 18 inches is the original floor level, and that's why the doors are shrunk. And so,
wow.
Yeah. So there's several different residents that I have found. Jim Cantrell is one. He was there in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
He was a cancer patient. He had spinal cancer, and he had been paralyzed by his cancer. But one of the nurses on the facility helped Jim learn how to tat lace. And so from his bed, he could tat lace, and he got so good that he actually turned that into a business. So
and we can put that, you got that
Jim,
clip.
Yeah, Jim's picture is up. So he was a resident there. We have John Dottie and Doris Addington. Those are the 2 other big residents that we know. They were there the longest. John got there in 1939. He was dropped off by his 2 brothers who didn't want to take care of him. John had a stuttering issue, and he was quite the introvert. I think what we would call them on the spectrum nowadays. And his brothers didn't want to deal with him, so they left him there. And he lived at Randolph until 2003. That was his place. He was a very quiet man. He kept to himself. He didn't speak a lot. He loved to watch his soap operas, which were Guiding Light and As the World Turns. He would watch those every day and then sit in his room for the next 2 hours until dinner time. His other thing was he would take care of the chickens in the chicken coop, and he would gather the eggs every day and take care of the chickens. That was his big thing. Doris Addington came in 1945, and then she was in residence all the way through her death in 2006, just before the facility closed down. Doris did leave for a small fraction of time. She tried to go out on her own up to the Fort Wayne area. Didn't last long. Came back when she was 21 and then lived out her entire life there. She was also the cook, and we got to spend a lot of time down in Doris's kitchens.
Yes, we did.
And she was a friendly, chatty, vivacious woman. Just the heart of Randolph, in my opinion. I have a soft spot for Doris, I think. They have pictures of her down in the kitchen, which really set it off. Now, Ted had an interesting take, and Ted is the historian. And like Chief said, he does run a museum in Winchester about the county history. So he probably knows. But he says that Doris's mother and Doris's father died in the car accident that left all the siblings orphaned, which resulted in Doris ending up at Randolph. Her other siblings were taken out to the orphanage and adopted out. I guess she had 2 older sisters who, instead of taking her to the orphanage to be adopted, they dropped her at Randolph. So we're not sure exactly. The information that I have is that her father, Creston Addington, actually, I don't know if there was a mental illness or something, but my information is that he didn't die in the crash, but he was unable to care for the kids. And that he actually ended up at Randolph too, because the information I have is that when Doris came back when she was 21, her father was in residence there, and that he died of a heart attack shortly after she got back. But that is from a newspaper article from the Indianapolis Star from January of 97, I think, has that information. So, but Ted may know more information, and the report might be wrong. But be that as that may, that's still a long time for a person to be living.
We have a picture of the Indy Star article, don't we?
We do, and that's John Dottie's picture. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's just beautiful, in my opinion. But, of course, I'm a history fanatic, so, you know.
Fantastic. We'll put that in, make sure everybody gets...
Yeah, definitely. And then shortly, sometime in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were going to shut down the Randolph County Infirmary. But Susie and Dave Burgess wanted to keep the facility open, so they tried to turn it into a regular nursing home. And they didn't have any medical experience, any experience running a facility of any sort. All they had was love and care for their community, and they wanted to make sure that these people had a place to live out the rest of their lives because it was all they knew. So Susie and Dave came in and tried to really bring this back. Susie painted all these murals on the walls and everything. The facility was always very segregated. The men had one side of the building, the women had the other side of the building. They had their own churches, chapels on each floor. They had their own day rooms on each floor. They had their own dining rooms. They were never together at any point except in the laundry facilities. So when Susie and David came, they wanted to change that. They wanted to stop the segregation. They wanted to bring the residents together like a family. So they tried to do away with the morning bells, the dinner bells.
And boy, were they loud.
They were very loud.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. However, when they did that, the residents revolted. They did not want that routine to stop. John stopped talking completely. Doris stopped talking completely.
Well, getting a routine.
Yeah, they were in a routine. And one of the residents, Paula, started making her nose bleed again. Susie had gotten that part of Paula's behavior to stop. But once they tried to do this, Paula reverted back to that behavior. And Paula was a 52-year-old and was definitely on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
Definitely. Her favorite thing was her Barbie doll named Jennifer. And she had never worn dresses until Susie came, and Susie bought her a dress to wear. So Susie and they were like, well, that's fine. They don't want that. We'll just go back to the old way. We'll do the dinner bells, the breakfast bells. They can stay separated, you know. And so they did. And they were able to keep the facility open until 2006, when, of course, it just became too costly.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but they had love and devotion for it. And
makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
Funny thing is, and I want to point this out, you know, there is certain... How do I want to phrase this? If you've ever been in the military or prison, I want to point out I've never been in prison. I want to make sure everybody understands that. This is not speaking from actual experience on that end. But having been in the military, any of those, some people get to the point they like the repetitive nature the discipline or of the structure. You know, they want that very structured life, and a lot of guys will stay in the service because, you know, it's like one guy told me one time, I had a chief that worked for me, and he said, you know, he says, like animals, and you know, anybody knows what that is going to date themselves immediately. But he says, you know, I know what I'm supposed to wear. I know what goes with what. I don't have to do anything. I just have to get dressed. And you know, he loved it. He stayed until they threw him out. And I mean, you know, I think a lot of people end up that way. They get into that syndrome where that is just second nature. It's something that's very, you know, very relaxing to them, and
it's calming, and it's comfort.
And they thrive on routine.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot of that.
On the spectrum, or they had, you know, ADHD or any other neurotypical disorder.
Right.
They thrive on
right, because the infirmary started as a poorhouse. And that's really what it was through its entire, you know, existence. The poorhouse would serve orphans, widows. Okay, not orphans, but the widows, if they had children, would come with the widows. There was a separate orphanage that we discussed.
Yes.
With Lulu's story.
Oh,
later.
it was. That was in town because they brought that up several times.
Yeah, so it was. I forget the highway, the little county road we came in. But yeah, it's just on the other side of town. You come through town, and then you Randolph.
Eric's going to grab that for you. Hang on.
The other side of town.
Now, I do want to point out, Eric and Jennifer are sharing a mic. We're down a mic, so, you know, it's like singing the can. Anybody that's ever seen, you know, Brother, Where for Art Thou?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was my father's favorite movie, but I always enjoyed watching it. All right, so... You know, that was brought up several times. Ted brought that up about how it was almost worse than the facility they were in. By far.
Orphanages usually were. But the other reasons were if you were disabled and you could not fend for yourself, if you could not take care of yourself, you ended up at the poor farm. So anybody who was on that spectrum that had disabilities that was unable to care for, those are the kind of people that were here.
Yeah.
So, and we'll go and hit a few other people here as we go through some of the evidence we acquired, and then we'll talk about those people at that time, because I don't want to get too far ahead of where we're going.
Oh, yeah. I think he's got an answer. Come close.
State Road 32.
State Road 32.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you come in, you bypass where the orphanage was. It's no longer there. It's torn down. But there are two giant stone pillars that mark the entrance where it was. And then you come into the town of Winchester, and then on the other side of Winchester, you take the road out to Randolph.
Outstanding. So, all right. Well, are we ready for our first clip?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Do you want to set this one up? This took place in the attic.
Yes, this was in the attic, and this was with Andrew and our guest investigators, Lori, Justin, and Julia. And go ahead.
Sorry. Have I been removing that bell? What?
Can't see. It's adjusted.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, see the K2 went off a little?
Mm-hmm.
Can you ring that bell?
Something just hit my chair.
Really?
So everybody got to hear that? What about the chair?
Yeah, so Lori marks that something has kicked her chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 20 seconds later, her flashlight stops working.
And that's the click you're hearing a little bit there. Is trying to get the flashlight to work?
No.
Oh, that's the fans.
The background
fans.
Noise is the attic fans, the vent fans, because you can hear them squeaking.
Okay.
And so Andrew definitely marked that on the recording, that he noticed that, that squeak is not a mouse. Yeah. Those are the fans.
Well, it was a funny story because Ted told us about this pet mouse he had in the attic.
Exactly.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think everybody was looking for that mouse. Yeah, poor little mouse had died or something, but he would feed it, actually, and he'd sit up and wait for him to come up there and squeak at him until he fed it.
Yeah, but
thought that was funny.
He's no longer there. But then after the flashlight stops working, about 30 seconds later, and we're going to play this clip next, there's a faintest knock that you're going to hear at the very beginning, and then Andrew remarks that he hears the knock.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, get ready and listen very carefully.
Maybe the sensitivity on the bell is turned too far down. I just heard something behind us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how she keeps hearing like a dog, I want to say.
No. It was a different sound. It was...
Is there a mouse up here?
So what did everybody think?
I think that's a relatively interesting just because it happens back to back to back. What do you think?
Yeah. I wish we had video of it too, just to see
Yeah.
what's going
No.
on. But yeah.
But they were in the dark attic.
Oh.
And when the attic
It's
is,
kinda
the
hard to
lights
see in
are
the
out,
dark.
It's dark.
it's dark.
Even with our illuminator, sometimes it won't pick up the.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
That
we
attic
are,
was dark.
Oh yeah, we're looking
Yeah.
at getting some more handy cams, so eventually that will be seen. But I tell you what, no matter how much equipment you ever have, there's always that one piece that will never be there when you need it, when something
Of course.
happens.
Yep.
Sarah, what did you think?
I thought it was creepy. The attic kind of gave me weird vibes. So yeah, the knocking was
outstanding.
pretty cool.
Well, that and then the chair being struck right before it. And I think they said they did weddings or something up there.
Yeah. They hold weddings up there. That's
Be a
the
heck of a
actual wedding venue, and then downstairs dancing receptions.
So if you want to get married and interact with ghosts, here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Heather, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was creepy with the chair, and then you got weddings and other special events being held up there. Who knows what's going on?
Exactly.
And who's on your
guest list.
guest list.
Yeah, but those guests don't eat, so you're fine.
Yeah, thank God you don't have to pay for the plate.
Pay for those plates.
That's right.
That's right. Now, they may rearrange your floral decorations, but hey, it comes with the program. All right, before we play our next clip, I want to bring up a piece of equipment we have, and it's called a paranormal bell.
Yes.
And, there's two different kinds of bells out there. The one particular bell we have works off creating it's like a REM pod. It creates a field around it, electromagnetic field. And he enters the field, causes the bell to go off. Now, some bells are more like EMF detectors. They just, anytime they sense a certain level of EMF, they go off. Ours is not that way. So anything, we use these for communicating. And, one bell for yes, two for no, vice versa, so forth. So, and sometimes just to get him to hit the bell is worthwhile. We also found out that most spirits like the bell. It is entertaining to them. So,
Yes, they do.
yeah. So the next clip we have, you want to set us up on that one?
Yeah, so this is still the attic with Andrew, Lori, Justin, and Julia again. And they have kind of a little bit of a good interaction with the bell for, about 30 seconds here or so. And then in the middle of that section, you're going to hear a really loud knock. And this happened 5 minutes after what we had just heard happened. So this is about 5 minutes later.
All right, so here we go.
Who is the best tag player here? Hearing something?
Yeah, I just heard a knock.
Oh, you rang it twice. Nice.
Was that you knocking over here?
Can you hit the little ball on the ground?
Hearing something?
Yeah, I just heard a knock.
All right, folks. And if you heard it, it was very distinctive, that big knock.
Yep,
came
the bell
right in
and
there.
then knock.
So
It was almost like a stomp. I mean, that was that was forceful.
yeah, I'm surprised. Of course, we've had this happen before. Anytime we're investigating, some will hear it better than others, and I mean, but it comes in great on the audio. And that was one you sit there and think, how did they miss that? But no, I mean, it could have well been depending on where it was at.
No, Justin didn't, because you can hear him click his flashlight on, and then Andrew says, "What's going on?" Because Andrew didn't hear it. But I think the way they were set up, if I remember the attic correctly, there was a barrel. And I think Justin is sitting next to the barrel, and because he has put the recorder down.
Yes.
Because earlier in the audio, he's telling me where he's put stuff,
Yes.
which is good because you need that information.
Yeah, and you don't
going
want to
back
carry it around because you'll create all kinds of contamination by doing
It's
so.
amazing just how much, and I didn't know that coming into this field and learned that really early on. So he does set it down. So that knock is happening near Justin.
Yes.
And since we run up there, I'm not exactly sure where Andrew is sitting, but I have a feeling he's on the opposite side from where
Probably
Justin
was
is,
unable
like,
to hear it because he
at a
wasn't close.
diagonal.
Yeah, it was
Correct.
close enough to the mic. Could have even been something just tapping on the barrel it was sitting on.
And it could be.
Yeah, very well could
Yeah.
be. So what's everybody think? Any opinions one way or another?
I think it's just a really cool
Yeah,
piece.
just really neat.
Okay, outstanding. So, all right. So for our next one, we've entitled this "The Thug Room." Go ahead and
The
explain
thug
that.
room.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's a really important accident that happens in 1943, and it was September the 4th, 1943, and we were there on September the 5th. Okay, which is exactly how I remembered this specific date, because I thought we're just one day shy of the anniversary. This was when John Oliver Champ fell out of his second-story window and died.
Fell out.
Okay, yeah, fell out. So there is some discrepancy as to whether he fell out or he was pushed out.
Yes.
And in the 2 years I've been researching, like I said, I know that I came across an article at some point debating whether it was an accident or not. And they did have two suspects as to who may have actually pushed him out the window. I cannot find that article again, but that's not uncommon, because when you pull up newspapers.com and put in Randolph County Infirmary.
Oh, I bet you get quite a bit, not just in Indiana.
It is gobs and gobs and gobs of newspaper articles and obituaries and incidences and residents freeze to death, or there's somebody that ran out of, because the door is right there at the county road. Yeah. So residents have been hit and killed on that road.
Oh, wow.
It's gobs and gobs, and trying to go back to find that article is just almost nearly impossible. But Ted seems to feel that it was not an accident. He thinks that John was pushed out the window because John was friends with his next door neighbor, so to speak. The judge was in the room next to John.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple rooms down the hall, which Ted affectionately or unaffectionately has named the thug room. And he thinks that this was the room where one of the bullies who pushed John out of his window resided. So that's why he labels this the thug room. But September 4th was fall cleaning day. Residents had to keep their rooms cleaned. So this was a day that all the windows got opened, windows got washed, things got aired out, swept out, whatever. John is in his 80s, 86 years old, I think. There's no way this man is going to be leaning out his window to clean the outside of his window.
Yeah, you would hope not. Yeah.
Right. So what is suspected is that he sat on the windowsill, brought the window sash down over his legs to keep him pinned.
Yeah, so
while
he didn't fall
reached
out.
up as high as he could to wash the outside of his window. And the bullies walking past found the perfect opportunity to do away with what they considered a snitch, because the rumors circulating were that John was giving information to the judge. Yeah. So they think that those guys came in, lifted that sash, and pushed John all the way out the window to his death.
Wow.
So can't confirm it, but it's quite possible. So
I felt they had an in with the judge as well. So,
well, I think that they didn't want John to be ratting them out any longer to the judge, because they had a real jail cell on site.
Oh yeah,
yes,
that was interesting. Yeah,
and yeah, that's going to come here in a minute. But
okay.
So Andrew, Lori, and Justin and Julia again, they have left the attic and they've come down to the second floor. They were in John's room for a little bit. Few minor things happened, but not enough, I don't think. So the next room they went to was the thug's room, and then this is what happens. And it's very interesting. So I'm going to play it and let you guys tell me what you think.
All right. Okay, here we go, guys. Yeah, that's a real good one.
And then that's a knock.
All right. All right. All right, let's see here. All right, you ready? All right, folks, did you hear the knocks?
Yeah, so we had the footsteps first,
Mm-hmm.
and then when Justin asked, was that you that made those footsteps, then you hear the knock. Now, what you can't really hear clearly is Lori and Julia saying no, that they're not walking. So those footsteps are not theirs.
Yeah, makes a difference. And that's one thing you have to do. When we're investigating, we have to identify who belongs to what sound. We always tell people when you're taking a EVP, if you hit something, bump something, say you did, And so
yeah, that one isn't as clear or as loud as some of the others, but it's still there. So if you didn't hear it, go back and listen to it again there.
All right. All right, folks. So the next thing we have up is a session in the kitchen. And,
no, we still got one more in the jail.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped the jail.
Yeah. Because after the thug room, the guys moved down to the jail cell.
Down to the jail cell now. The jail cell was put into one room, and this is probably, how big would you say that was, Eric?
15, well, probably 10 by 12.
10 by 12.
10 by 12, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was small. It was small. So, and that was Andrew, Lori, Justin, Julia. Again, this is the end of their run coming out of the attic.
Yep.
So we're going to play that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now I got to find that one. I'm looking to see where that one's at.
It's actually quite long, but...
Let's see it. Attic knock, attic bear, attic gone. Maybe down here. I think I put it in jail interactions. Okay, here we are.
It's like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, I never cut a big swath of it. Maybe I didn't cut a big swath. Map said it's only 11 seconds. Well, 20 seconds. I'll have to recut it.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Okay, you want me to go ahead and pull that out of raw here so we can hear it?
Because this is where Andrew, Justin, and Julia are in the cell. And Andrew says, would you want me to leave? And the bell dings, so Andrew leaves.
Oh, I remember this one. Yeah.
And then Justin's like, would you want me to leave? And the bell dings, so Justin leaves, leaving Julia alone in the cell.
But yeah, I did know that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Julia's like Sierra, please, do you want me to leave?
Yeah.
And no bell.
Yeah.
Please.
Sorry, you're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
John was a good one to me. That was the best.
Trying to see which file was that. That must have been under.
That's still under the 035.
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
Please look it up. That's nice.
2250.
This is my phone.
Yeah.
You may have to clip that.
Can we not put that anywhere?
Yeah, we
we just
definitely
throw that away?
Put it on Christmas. Okay.
Do you have a name?
Can you make a noise? Can you knock on something?
Is that Julia? Is that Julia walking? I just heard steps.
Yeah, I heard it too. I heard a thud coming here, Andy. Was that you that made a little thud noise here? Can you make that noise again?
Okay, Justin and Andrew are in the jail cell.
On the second floor? Is somebody here with us? Why are you in the jail cell?
All right, folks. That was an interesting one. The jail cell was small. It did, as Justin pointed out, he does a really good job. He really does. When he moves anything, he's very good to mark that.
Yeah, he does mark things good.
He does really well. So what do we think about that?
I think that's a very interesting interaction.
Yeah.
The bell was really...
It wasn't overly creepy or anything, just kind of, hey.
I mean, for Julie, it might have been.
Yeah. Well, especially in the jail cell.
I think Julie may have been a little traumatized by it.
I think she felt singled out there. Don't you think, Sierra?
Singled out, but not.
I would say so, for sure.
Definitely ladies' night, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Well, if you've got a drunk sitting in the drunk tank,
You don't want two men in there. You want Julia.
Exactly. And I think it was, and how quick it was after Andrew said, "Do you want me gone?" Ding.
Oh, yeah. That was fast.
And then for it to go quiet on Julia, like, no.
Yeah, that was creepy.
You stay here.
Yeah, I definitely had a little persuasion there. They wanted to make sure that Julia stayed. So and I think Lori had already dropped out at this point, so she wasn't with the group when they were down there.
Yeah,
so
I think she was upstairs with us.
Yeah, so I think Julie was the only one that was there. So the only female that was there.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Lori wanted to go into the cell at all.
No, I don't think so.
After Lori's chair got kicked up in the attic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And again, the thing about Randolph is this is a different situation than most, and we'll talk a little bit about it all at the end. But I mean, it gave out a lot of feelings that there was places I didn't want any members going that didn't feel like they wanted to go. I wanted to make sure everybody was good with that. So.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so the next one we're looking at is, and by the way, folks, if you think this is going to be a 45-minute episode, I wouldn't time anything on your watch. You don't want to miss any of it anyway. We're going to venture into the kitchen. Our next clip has Andrew, Jen, and Sierra in it. And...
yeah, this is a long clip, so we're not going to clip the whole thing, but we were in there for 15 minutes, at least, if not longer. And this is Doris's domain. And so this is where my research of the residents and the history and the stories really came into play, because for 15 minutes, it was almost like we were having a conversation with Doris.
Yeah, she was really active.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to play it and see what we think.
Oh, that somebody would talk to us.
Thank you.
Sitting down, that's me.
Yes, Andrew sat down again.
Maybe she doesn't want you to. Maybe she wants you to keep walking. She'll hit you with the double.
Do you want me to leave?
What a wild turn for things. But we like to have Andrew with us.
Not sure where I would go if I did leave.
Doris, are you not liking the fact that there's men and women in the same room together right now? Yeah, it's okay. You were always separated before, weren't you? Men on one side and women on the other.
But did you like being separated?
You did?
That's fair.
Talking about the kitchen and Doris. Doris is our matriarch of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you want to elaborate a little bit on what, because that was Andrew, Jennifer, and Sierra. So I want both of you to give me a little bit of your perspectives on that.
Yeah. So we had already had some Bell interactions going on, not a lot. And I also put in the clip where the cat balls go off in the window. Then that had happened before this had happened. And Andrew is walking around. And of course, Sierra, this is what, your second investigation with us so far?
Yeah, my second one ever.
Right. And we're in the basement. And I'm going to say right now, right, Eric? That basement is the creepiest place I've ever been in my life. Don't you agree?
100%.
I do not want to turn my light off when Andrew goes, lights off.
I know. And Andrew's so blasé about it.
I don't want to.
Lights off. Yeah. And so when Andrew sits down again and then, asks Doris, do you want me to leave? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, No, we want Andrew down here, you know. And then it started hitting me because they were segregated, right?
Yeah.
And then I remembered reading something in that Indianapolis Star article I mentioned earlier, is they had interviewed Doris for that. And the reporter had asked her about something, and Doris made a comment about having been taken away in a car with some boys.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got really quiet. And the reporter was like, you know, wanted a little bit more. Well, then she started to cry, thinking about this memory. And then she didn't want to talk anymore about it. So I wonder if something didn't happen because we heard another
good probability.
We heard another story about an incident.
Yeah.
Where
another young lady was cornered. Yeah.
5 residents had cornered another girl down in one of the basement rooms. And you guys can all assume what happened at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't wonder if something like that happened to Doris when these boys took her away.
When she was younger.
When she was younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could indicate why she didn't want Andrew in that kitchen with us.
Could be.
Sierra and I
very
much
uncomfortable.
wanted Andrew in that kitchen with us.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was worried about you too.
Probably.
Possibly. But yeah, when the second clip starts, I had asked her, well, do you understand why we want Andrew to protect us? And that's when the bell dinged and like, you don't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she felt safe in the facility, especially with the separation. So she didn't understand the need to have Andrew there because she was always safe as long as she was in the facility.
Right.
She didn't want to leave after what had happened. Apparently, whatever it was in the car that had happened, to what extreme had traumatized her to the point that as long as she was on the facility and she was in her kitchen was her safety blanket, I think.
I think so too. And then at one point, Andrew starts asking questions about her green bean casserole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
yes, that seemed to be the topic of the night, was the green bean casserole.
I don't like green beans. Would I like your casserole?
Yeah.
And it was just a funny response. And then there's a little clip we'll play in a little bit when we get there, but the green bean moment comes back up again, doesn't it, Sierra?
Yeah, it does.
It was funny.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good.
But again, I think the really cool interaction is it felt like we were having a conversation with her, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And like she wasn't a scary presence to be around. Even if the basement was scary, she was very comforting to be around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had to laugh because it got amusing at that point.
And then the next interaction we had with her is I started asking her about John Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'll play these clips, but...
real quick, was there a story in the Star about her being taken away?
So that did come from the Star, yes.
We don't have a picture of it or anything we can put in.
Well, we do have pictures of Doris. Yeah. Okay. And I've already put them on the Facebook page.
Okay, I want to make sure that gets put in.
And I'll probably repost those pictures again when we drop this. But
okay.
In the Indianapolis Star, they do talk to Doris about, she was recollecting about an incident where she was taken out by some boys in a car. And that's when she broke down. So that's where I got that story from, was from the Indianapolis Star report. But yeah, she didn't talk about further, so we don't have any details on it. And I never came across anything in my other research.
Yeah, probably not. If it was probably kept quiet.
Right. But, we do have that question. Is the bell reacting to itself? Is it creating its own energy, or is it really responding to questions?
Yeah, and that gets to be, for years, I'm going to bring this up real quick. We used to use in the field EM pumps. Now, we have them with our group. We have a dual and a single. And what it does is it positively charges the ions in the space you're in. Now, of course, you get some of the spaces in Randolph, we need much bigger pumps. But for years, a big scandal started back in, I'm going to say, the early 2000s. They found out a lot of groups were using these EMF pumps to positively charge the area with the intent to allow it to have energy in the area for the spirits to feed off of to manifest. And then became the chicken and egg theory. Was the energy manifesting the spirits because they were creating the energy and it was a false manifestation, a false positive, or was this energy provided for the entities to actually manifest, and was it a positive, a non, it was back and forth. There was there's still a lot of controversy. I don't know how many teams, because they never showed this on air, them using the pump, but one time, I remember, I think it was TAPS.
Wasn't it TAPS?
Yeah, it was TAPS.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, and they used it one time on air. Generally, I think most of this was done off air. It was done behind the scenes and in hopes that, it's one of the many things we carry in our toolbox. When you're a paranormal investigator and you're dealing with parapsychology issues, you carry a lot of tools in your box in hopes that you can, use them to help bring things around. And two, I think a lot of times we just hope that keeps them off our batteries.
Right.
Our equipment, especially the rechargeable. A lot of things nowadays don't have batteries you can replace. They require to be recharged, and that takes time. Before the stuff, we just pop the batteries out and pop a new set in, and we're going. It doesn't always work that way now. So,
But with our conversations with Doris, the bell dinged at the appropriate responses.
Exactly.
We had discussions about John Dottie, and I asked, did John talk to you a lot?
Mm-hmm.
No response on the bell. Did John keep to himself? And the bell would ding. And that's accurate. John did keep to himself. He wasn't a talker. He didn't interact with people. We asked her about Paula and her Barbie doll Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
We got correct dings in the correct places for that. Another thing is I couldn't remember when I was down in there what year Doris got to the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were doing the review again, I went back through my notes and I found that she got there in 1945, like I said earlier. John Chapman's accident happened in 1943.
So 2 years before she ever got there.
So we're having a conversation, and I'm trying to get information to see if she knows, was that accidental or was he pushed? And so I'm asking, were you here at that time? Because I couldn't remember. And the dings are correct. When I went back in the research, she wasn't there yet. She didn't have knowledge of it. And when you go back and listen to that interaction, the dings are accurate and correct with the correct responses should have been.
Yes.
And I didn't know that at the time when I was asking. Another thing that happens is we try to ask her about Ida Gunkel. We haven't talked about Ida yet. Ida Gunkel is the resident that hung herself down in her basement cell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember?
The one that used the broomstick. And
the broomstick. And I don't have much on Ida. I mean, I know her whole story, but she's one that I don't want to antagonize or make her angry. You know what I mean? Because she is known to scratch, hurt people who go.
Well, that's why they locked her up at night. Every night she'd go down to her room, they'd lock her in,
Yeah. And again, she was another one who was on the spectrum. She also had neuroencephalitis, right, Eric? Isn't that what I said?
Wasn't it syphilis?
It was a result of venereal disease.
Yeah. So she was in cognitive decline.
Yes.
Yeah. So not only did they not want to help her, they really probably didn't have the means.
They didn't have the means to do it. No.
Yeah. So we did try to ask her about Ida. Did you feel sorry for Ida? Is she getting a bad reputation? Was she not as mean as she was? The bell went quiet. And I'm like, do you not want to discuss Ida down here because you're afraid that she can hear you? And the bell dinged.
Yeah.
So we just stopped that whole line of thought.
That's telling.
It's very telling. Now, I didn't really do much with Ida's room that night because Ida's room is in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed away from there.
Yeah.
And like we said, the basement is the most chilling part of this whole facility.
Yeah, I'm not normally one to be scared to go into places. I won't say I'm desensitized, but it was funny. Early in the night, Chief and I are trying to work on equipment, trying to get the cameras up, and the lights are on.
Yes.
And Chief's like, "Do you want anybody down there?" I was like, "Oh, I'm fine." And about 5 minutes later, I'm just like, "Yeah, send somebody down here." I just to watch my back.
Yeah, it made me nervous. I was nervous with you down there because, we always tell everybody our policy is 2 in, 2 out. It's old firefighters' policy. But the problem is that does two things. One, has somebody that's got your six, got your back. Two, it has somebody can validate whatever they find. They can say, well, yeah, I was there. I saw it too. And, it makes a big difference if they can collaborate that story.
Yeah.
But, setting up that mic, you're kind of tunnel vision on the camera or the mic, and you're not really paying attention around you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was I wasn't hearing voices. There wasn't footsteps. It was just.
Yeah. The feeling.
The feeling was so intense.
No, but we had the shadow figure activity going on during the tour at the very beginning of the night. You and I saw.
During the day.
Day.
Yeah.
That set the night off right. That's for sure. But the coolest interaction that I do want to play this clip. This is the one where we were asking Doris about Susie and David, and did you like them, and were they good people? And it was always yeses. And Ted had told us earlier about the murals that were painted on the wall.
Yes.
Susie had done those. And so this clip is me asking Doris.
Real quick before we
Susie.
play that one, do you want to do the John Doherty response from Doris?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're running very long. So
Yeah, we're going to be today. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and we're going to play the next clip.
Did John come to the home here before you did? Was he already here when you got here? Yes. Paula liked her Barbie doll, Jennifer, didn't she? Yeah. Did Paula talk a lot? Or
All right, folks. So Doris gave us a good amount of energy there before she started getting tired.
Yeah, she really did. It was a good 15 minutes or more, like I said, wasn't it, Sierra?
Yeah, it was quite a while.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And she really seemed to like Susie and David, and they really, really did a lot for that place. And
we're going to put the picture, and this is one that Sierra got us. It's of the apple tree that Susie had drawn. We're going to put that up on there so you can see it, folks. You should be able to see it now.
Yeah, and then Doris got one last zinger in with the green bean casserole and Andrew. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, we ought to make green bean casserole for the Christmas party.
There you go.
In honor of Doris, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got a picture of the recipe
That's what I was going to
that was there.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That might be kind of a fun thing.
So I'll make it for the...
Oh, there we go. Okay, good deal.
Did you get it too?
No, I just knew someone did. I saw someone take a picture of it.
Yeah. All right. So the next one up, and this is a woman's day room. And these were starting our SD sessions. For those that don't know what an SD session is, this was developed by MIT back in the 50s and 60s. And what it does is it's double-blind study. So we put one person with noise cancellation headsets or headphones, and we plug those headphones into an SB2 or some form of spirit box, which is a AM/FM radio that scans at high frequencies, picking up words. That person's called the receiver. They're also blindfolded, so they can't communicate with anybody or see any kind of optical stimuli. And then we have the sender, which is the individual that asks questions, who is neither blindfolded nor has headsets, and they will ask questions, and the receiver's job is anytime they hear anything through the box, they just blurt it out, and then we can make a communication sessions that way. So SD sessions are the only thing we use in we have an SB2 spirit box. The only thing we use that for is SD sessions. So and this has been very good in the past. We've had good luck. So this is in the women's day room, and it is Jennifer, Chief, Justin, and Sierra. So you want to lead us off there, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I am the receiver. I'm blindfolded with the headset on.
I'm the sender.
Yeah, and you're the sender. And it's interesting. We're about 12 minutes in on this clip, and I guess you guys are talking about Lulu. And for those who need the backstory on Lulu, she was a 14-year-old that came to Randolph Infirmary with her stepfather. It's a rather awful, sad story. Just awful. So awful. It's so hard to talk about,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be sensitive while at the same time.
Talk about someone's life destroyed systematically throughout the years.
Exactly. Because they shared the same last name, they were put in the same room. And the stepfather took advantage of this. And Lulu ended up pregnant. And then she was ostracized by the women on the ward because she's a 14-year-old unwed pregnant woman. Child. She's not even a woman. She's a child. Luckily, the stepfather was arrested and put in jail, which is great. But Lulu was left on her own with this child. And the child got sick one night, very sick with croup, colic. And the women on the floor did not like it. The woman next door could not
too much
sleep.
noise.
Too much noise, too much chaos. And so she went in and complained to the sheriff. The sheriff came out and took the child, and Lulu lost her daughter.
Yeah.
The daughter was taken to the orphanage, and it turns out good because the ending is positive. The adoptive parents who took Sarah Lucille gave Lulu access, so they saw each other.
Made sure she got a chance to see her daughter.
You know, so yes, while Sarah Lucille grew up in a different home, and Lulu did not raise her, they still had a connection, and they still had a good time. But Lulu was not liked on the ward. And so I guess during that SD session, Chief, my answers were rather interesting.
They were good. They were good, actually. One of them they came back with, and I thought it was kind of funny because it's more of a modern age response, but Justin asked a question that's, I think, thought of as rather redundant or just a dumb question. And your response was, really?
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the better ones.
And again, I've got headset on. I can't hear what the questions are. I know that people are talking, but I cannot understand the questions. So
I want to tell you, this is a scary situation because when you're blind and you're totally, you're secluded. I know I had to be careful because several times were you ever a receiver, Sierra?
No.
Okay, so it was just Jennifer, but I know several times I tapped her on the shoulder, she about came out of her skin. And I mean, because you don't know when someone grabs a hold of you, and you got to go at it kind of gingerly, and I try. But, I don't want to sound like a trance, but when we bring them out, in other words, when we're done, we'll tap them and say, okay, take your headphones off.
I think Andrew came up with the best one. He shined the flashlight in my face.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing.
Well, that's probably a policy we need to put in place because that probably worked a lot better, a lot less traumatic.
Instead of me screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's several parts in there where, and I'm older, I got a heavy hand, I don't mean to, but a lot of times when I reach out and I pat someone, it may be very disturbing.
It feels more than a pat.
Yeah. So it... just a light, even a light pat will drive someone if they're not expecting it. And, because, I can't say, hey, we're done because you can't hear me. So
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
And I get zoned in. It's almost... And,
the focus is very, very, very defined.
Is an interesting tool. And we all have our own theories about how it works. But I am in a really deep sort of meditative...
state,
hypnotic-y kind of state.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to anything. I'm just listening.
You're super concentrating on everything that's coming through those headphones. So
correct.
It makes a difference. Okay, we're going to play 2 clips here. And one talks about Lulu, and the other one is the response from Justin's question. So we're going to play those now.
Don't talk to her. Don't talk to Lulu? Why do we want to talk to Lulu? What's wrong with Lulu?
There was some answer, I don't know what it was. I don't know where someone I haven't seen somebody.
Can you say that again?
Really?
Okay.
I'm just trying to...
Yeah, this is a lot Richard getting on to do. Richard. Bingo. What's your last...
Okay, we hope you enjoyed that. I still think the really clip is cute. So, it's good when a ghost has a sense of humor. All right, so next we're going to talk about body cams. Now, body cams are something new, and actually we credit Eric with that because he brought the first one in. And before anybody panics, I'm not telling everybody go out and buy body cams. We experiment with equipment all the time, and Eric had good luck with this. He actually got some good feedback on it, and actually Jen bought one for a little while, although it wasn't the model she wanted. Didn't work out real well, so this was the first and only investigation with that particular model. I'll tell you, one of the funniest conversations I've had is with some of the police officers I know when they first brought body cams. And there was a lot of problems getting adapted and getting used to them. One, they don't always shoot the angle you want. Two, when you go to the bathroom, you need to make sure you turn the damn thing off. And then you make sure you turn it on when you come out, and so forth. There was a lot of issues. So we experiment around with a lot of things. Some work, some don't. I don't know that we're sold on this. It's not going to become a automatic piece of equipment, but we're looking at them. We always will look at them, and Eric's works pretty well, and he does pretty good with it. So, and with that in mind, we're going to get into his body cam first. And you kind of edited, or you actually did the review on that, didn't you, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer's kind of our specialist. She does the review on a lot of things. So she actually has the backstory on that. So I'm going to let you explain that.
So this part that we're going to do next is from Eric's body cam, and it's when he was down in Walter's room.
Okay.
Walter is Walter Oliver Armstrong, right? That was his name? Walter. Oh, come on, Eric. Yeah. Remember? I think Oliver's right. It's Walter Armstrong. And
this is with the REM pod too, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The REM pod. Yeah. They had deployed the REM pod as well. And you can see it on Eric's body cam that we're going to do. And you guys have a cute little session. But I did pick a couple places here that we're going to.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, it was cute because you
cute.
were having a really cute conversation with him about screwdrivers, and you were going to get him an electric screwdriver, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear all that through there. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
so I didn't clip everything, but yeah, that's the basis of what was going on here. And so down in this workroom, he would just go down there and hammer and screw away with the screwdrivers and the screws and the nails, and it's all in the workbench and along the wall into the wood there. And we'll go back to the banging because there are claims that you will hear the hammer banging from that room in the basement.
Yeah, because I will tell you live, we didn't hear anything. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm interested to hear. Yeah, I was interested, and that's where I think we had a recorder and my body cam.
Yeah.
So there really isn't anything now that we hear. But remember later in the morning before we leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember? Because I know I heard bangs coming from the basement when I wasn't sleeping.
Now, this is the time, if you're not on YouTube or Spotify, you need to get there so you can see the video portions of this. So we're ready to play those, and then we'll discuss them.
Interesting.
His workshop.
Hi, Walter. All right, so we've got a couple things here. We've got this REM pod. If you come up to it and touch it, it won't hurt you. See, like that.
You get this down, Andy.
If you do that, you can do yes and no kind of things. And then we also have this, and I think you might like this.
That might have been you.
Could have been me, but I didn't really get close.
1950. Okay, that's a good sign. 1960. What's that? Okay. Is it 1970? Is it 2025? I know I just went fast there. I'm just trying to understand. Are you still with us? Can you ring the bell if you're still with us?
Okay, so folks, if you got a chance to look at the audio, you're going to love this. So, I mean, really, it was great. And I should explain about a REM pod that was sitting on Walter's bench. And for those that don't know what a REM pod is a device that creates an EMF field around it. So anything that comes in near the antenna causes it to alarm. That includes us. We all have, even rocks have EMF fields. They're all different measurable levels, and we won't get into a real long, hairy lecture on EMF. But with that in mind, and actually... Eric was leading this session, and go ahead and we'll tell us a little bit about what was going on there. We got 2 clips, so we got the first one going in.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think the order we just watched them.
Yeah, Andrew first comes by, and it goes off before he gets to. First, he thinks he might have set it off, but there's no way you can look in a clip and tell he wasn't close enough.
He wasn't close enough. It was so interesting because, as you saw, we were trying to go through years, and Jennifer reminded me that Ted said, Walter's very aware of what year it is, and he wants the modern equipment. And I had offered to bring a screwdriver. So next time we go, I'm gonna take him an electric
That would
screwdriver.
be fantastic.
He likes all that good new stuff,
right? So, but it's interesting that he's cognizant of the current era, which is I've had that experience where sometimes ghosts think it's...
Yeah, they know it's what year.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they're trapped in the past. It just depends. But it's neat because you don't run across that often.
Yep.
So to have someone that knows what era is, interested in new equipment, imagine taking an Alexa out there for a little while. And, that might be something we'll have to scrap one, take it with us, just see what he does with it.
I would love to put an Alexa and a dead mic and a camera and just leave it in there, see if they respond.
I got a spare one. We'll just do that.
That's really cool.
It's one I use on the patio.
We could connect it to the Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just let it talk.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
That might be one of our new investigating tools. I might donate that one anyway, so that might work out.
Yeah. That was a great experience because that was the one place in the basement that felt. You guys had the kitchen. We didn't have a lot of. Yeah, I went to later. I think Doris and any other spirits there were just way too tired because we went late. And so that interaction with Walter was great because the basement was just so dark and so oppressive. Being in there with Walter, it was actually very light. It was a great experience. The
better part of the basement.
For me, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then after you guys were in Walter's, you guys called Heather down and you guys went into the scrying room.
No, I took him. He volunteered.
You took him to the scrying room.
Well, he
volunteered.
He volunteered.
I stood at the doorway. Yeah, I was just like,
Well, Andrew was there for like a couple minutes.
Yep.
He got kind of sick. He didn't feel good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he left the room
and he left.
Felt better, came back, started feeling sick, and goes, "I'm out."
And he left. Yeah. And I didn't feel anything.
See, your mirror upstairs gives me the creeps. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It was creepier than that room.
I sat there, and I sat there.
Yeah.
I sat there.
But you guys did have some REM pod activity going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll tell you,
I took a lot of pictures. I took some video.
And she wanted in that room so bad, and then nothing really came out of it.
But see, that's so funny because I can't stand mirrors, and there was no way I would step foot into that room, ever.
Yeah, and
I don't even look in my mirror in the bathroom.
Did you feel anything?
Actually, no. I mean, it was really pretty chill. The mirrors were the creepiest part.
I mean, it was kind of creepy because it had a bunch of mirrors in it. But I mean, other than there was nothing going on.
You had temperature fluctuations just like you did in the morgue. Remember?
That's true, and that was so weird.
But other than that, I mean, nothing.
I will say it got much colder in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we'll get to the morgue. How we're going to discuss it.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
When the temperature fluctuations happened, we're like, all right, we're hoping there's something. No. And then nothing.
No, but it dropped. Well, I think in the period you were in there, it dropped 10 degrees.
Almost 10 degrees.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, something's going to happen.
Nope.
Nothing.
Something happened.
Well,
we had a temperature drop.
We were hoping a
10-degree temperature drop is something.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get something on the microphone, getting something in the pictures. something.
Yeah.
But that's all we got.
Yeah.
It was like 72 degrees, and when we were in
I
there,
remember you guys talking about the temperature variation. Yeah.
it was like high, almost 63, so it dropped almost 10 degrees.
Wow.
And you were in there 25 minutes, 30 minutes?
Maybe.
And then the crazy part is when you were finishing up, you could watch the temperature fluctuating. It went back up. So I mean,
something was there.
Something.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just didn't interact with her, but there was something there.
No, you did have REM pod activity going on. Now, it wasn't direct response activity, but there was still, what, at least in my own opinion, was activity.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's put it this way. There was someone in there.
Yeah.
But they weren't interacting with us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish they would have done something a little more.
Oh, what? Scratch you or bruise you?
Well, it showed up in a picture, said something in the microphone. Something.
Speaking of scratches and bruises, right?
Yeah, because you got a few of those.
I came home.
Heather got them from Waverly, and you got them from Randolph.
Yeah.
So made a difference.
And you never felt anything along that.
No, not at all.
At least I felt it at Waverly.
No, I did not feel it at all. It wasn't until the next morning that I'm looking down. I'm like, I see this string of beads. That's what it looks like. It looks like a circle, 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 circle with dashes in between the circles.
Was it like you were hit with a rosary or something?
The very first thing I thought of was rosary when I saw it.
Yeah.
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 And then on my leg, I've got the 3 or 4 fingerprints.
Wow.
Chief, can you put that picture in there? With
Yeah.
this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can do that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think we need to put that in there. So we'll make sure that goes in. Okay. So the next one we're going to talk about
the morgue session.
I
think so.
Think so. All right. Hang on just a second here. Okay. Next one is Jennifer's body cam. And, we caught a lot on the first part of it of Ted giving the tour, and we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not going to, because that was,
just,
then once Ted left and then our guest investigators came, I then took them through.
Yes.
And gave them the high points.
And let them know, So that's all on there. We're not going to go through that because that would make it extremely longer than we've already got.
There is one I want to play.
Okay.
The little girl voices. Now, this is so very hard to hear. You guys may not hear it.
I could after I got listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very difficult to hear. There's just something there after the music box. And the music box is all me.
Okay.
I'm messing around with it because it's malfunctioning. And I found out the reason it's malfunctioning is because the connector to the motion sensor had been disconnected.
Okay.
So that's why it wasn't working that night.
Okay, well, here we go. We're going to play the children's voices. Listen carefully. Now, this is very subtle when you listen to it. You have to really concentrate.
Yeah, because this is the microphone from the body cam.
All right.
John, back to, yes, okay.
We haven't forgotten about you.
No. I'm going to give some date ranges. And when I hit the date range that you were here, let me know, okay? Yes. Were you one of the original from the 1850s? Were you here in the 1860s? The 1870s? 1880s? 1890s? Were you here when they were built this current new building in the 1900s? Were you here with Lulu in the 1910s? Were you here with Jim in the 1920s? Were you here in the 1930s? Were you here in the 1940s? Okay, did you get excited? because I finally hit the 1940s.
Okay, folks, we hope you enjoyed that. And
yeah, so those clips were fun.
Yeah, they were.
Because that was right after.
Especially the double bell. Yeah.
The double bell. Finally, you got to my year. But
yeah,
that was one thing Andrew was talking about was with Doris, the bell was constantly going. We were having a full-on conversation. When we got to the morgue, the bell was quiet. And it really only dinged at certain intervals with certain questions. And I think when you see that really long pause between there's no activity until I say 1940s, and then we get bing, bing, and no activity when I'm asking all the names, and then we get to John. I still don't know who this John is.
Yeah, it felt
there's a lot of Johns.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Johns.
Were a lot of Johns. But, and then later on, we're not going to play this clip, but, I was trying to figure out, did he serve in one of the wars? And he wouldn't answer any of those questions. And so then I was like, well, maybe you're a Quaker, what'd you call it, Heather?
Conscientious objector.
Right. And we didn't get a response to that. So then I said, well, were you a Baptist? And the bell dinged. So he's nicknamed John the Baptist because I don't know what his last name is.
No. Well, still, though, it's a good catch. Now, next time maybe we can work on trying to figure out what that last name is. You know, the Randolph Asylum offers a book. And,
but I didn't think to go back up there.
And I will purchase it. She'll send it to me by email. I'm pretty sure it's on PDF files, what Ted said. And if we can get that, then I'm not going to distribute it because obviously they use it to get funding. But I would encourage anybody to go to their site and ask them. But we'll get that to see if we can help out there.
Right. So that was my first foray into the morgue that night. And then I'm going to turn this over to Eric to talk about the second foray into the morgue.
Yeah, so I was asking the questions, and Jennifer, she's like, stand close to me. So actually, I wandered off because we had put out the tripwire, and a REM pod, and the REM pod was going off, and the tripwire was just constant. I don't know if
the reason I wanted you next to me is because as soon as we got down to the basement, I mean, we had taken a little break to let the energy build back up again, and about 2 o'clock, it really started to build up again. And so at 2 o'clock, we went down to do this.
Yeah.
And as soon as I went down the stairs and I stopped in that main area before going down to the hallway, I didn't want to go down to that hallway. It was so oppressive at that point in time on that side of the hallway. And then the Estes, like Chief said, you can't hear, you can't see. And I wanted Heather on one side, and I'm holding Heather's hand.
Yes.
In these clips. And I don't know which we're going to clip because, again, I didn't give Chief any ideas because I didn't rewatch it very often. That's for sure.
Yeah. We didn't get very far into it because we weren't getting a lot of responses. I was asking questions, and then I got to this one point, and
well, what did you tell me? As soon as we walk in.
Okay, yeah, I look at and I was like, look at the millimeter. The temperature was 66.6 degrees.
Yeah,
and it stayed there the entire time. Did not fluctuate.
And I didn't really need that going into a Nestus method.
Yeah,
but I did not feel comfortable, which is why I wanted you to stand on the other side of me, so I was buffered on both sides.
Well, and I went away, and you started feeling cold drafts, and you're like, come back over here, because you could tell I wasn't there. So I put my hand on your shoulder. But the questioning was, I was trying to ask questions about Bob, or there were some other things, and it was weird because you laughed. You heard a laugh.
Yes.
And I was like, is this a game? And so I started asking questions like, and I started going down the path. I was like, are you inhuman? And it just got so dark, and it was...
Didn't I say the word fun at one point?
Yeah. And so it was like, we're calling it, because the line of questioning, like I said, it just kept getting darker and darker, and the responses it was messing with you.
Because I stopped the session initially, and I opened my eyes, and that's when I realized you weren't there next to me any longer, because I thought something was, I had a cold on this side of me. And then I'm like, okay, let's go back under again. And we really should not have gone back under again.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. I think we asked 3 or 4 questions, and it was something about fun. And I was like, is this a game? And you didn't give a response. And I started asking questions about Inhuman, and you just like, you obviously couldn't hear it, but you shuddered, and it was just like, okay, that's enough.
Really?
We're done. Yeah, you heard a growl. Or this really growl.
Well, it wasn't really a growl. It was more of a gutturally sound. It wasn't a roar. It was like.
Yeah, you just weren't
weird.
You weren't comfortable.
Did you get the difference, Sierra?
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I did.
the vibe in the room was as dark as it gets, and it was just like I could tell you were very uncomfortable.
It was the most uncomfortable Estes session I have ever done, and that's one of my favorite things to do is to do an Estes session.
Well, but
that was not.
Yeah, she volunteers for that a lot.
But the tripwire outside, it was something was running around inside the one door.
That tripwire was never never off.
It was never off. It was just constant. And so I was like, is this thing broke? Is it, but it was constantly, and it was changing colors.
Yeah. Me and Eric went out there. We're like, was something wrong with it? We went out there. If we stood there, it turned off.
Yeah. Once we were out there and near it, it would turn off. But as soon as we go back in the room, bloop.
And the REM pod kept going off too, right?
Yep. So something was running around in the hall and running by there. And it just, I'm disappointed in myself because the questioning started to get really dark and you weren't getting great responses and you heard that guttural voice. I'm just like, okay, it's time. We're done.
Yeah, I was done for the night at that point, actually. Yeah, I was.
So, yeah, I wanted to go back and see Doris, but I want to talk to her next time.
Well, one thing I want to point out is a lot of people may not know what a tripwire is. A tripwire, for lack of better explanations, is like a set of 12 EMF detectors equally spaced, all wired together. So what happens is if anything crosses that wire at any point, the nearest EMF detector goes off. So it's great if you got it on stairs and you've got entities walking down the stairs. You can see it light different pieces of that tripwire as it goes, and it's a handy dandy item to have. So, and I think SD sessions are really neat. They're a good tool, and I think they work pretty well. So, all right, well, to kind of set this up for our next section, and this is a little different. We had some problems. This is the first time we'd ever used IP cameras. Now, I know Jason Halls and a few of the other teams have started on these, and everybody has problems when they first start out. So we were working with, and I and Eric spent a great deal of the investigation, screwing around with the software, the router, the cameras, and trying to get it right. And so we had two cameras that did bring some things in, and these again are IP cameras. The first one is in the hallway in the basement, just outside the morgue. And so we're going to start there, and we'll talk about what we found, and we're going to show you some video clips. And these are video items, so you need to actually visually see this. And if you don't, you're really going to miss out on something. So we're going to play a couple of them. One thing we had was we had some noises, and those are obviously audio. And then also we had a shadow figure, and we had a white apparition. Mm-hmm. So I want everybody to get a chance on these, and we'll start off with the sounds, and then we'll play we'll come back just long enough for me to tell you we're going to play the ones that have the apparition, the shadow figure. So here we go on the audio. Okay, so you can kind of make your own decision there on those. Now, the next thing we're going to play is an exhale that we picked up on Cam 3. So we're going to go ahead and play that now. All right, folks, real quickly, that was the exhale, and we figured out what that was. That was actually I or Eric. We were working on the camera. So, there's a certain amount of evidence that you should be able to debunk. It's rare we have an investigation that doesn't have anything we don't debunk. Correct. And so when we had a few more, we just didn't put them all together and put them all up here on air because this is going to be a long enough podcast as is.
Yeah, because there were a couple of light anomalies that we got. One from Doris's room, and then you had one in the male Deo room.
Yes.
When you guys were doing the checkers. And those were both actually yours was the IR reflection.
Yes. Refraction of light coming off the IR
and
illuminator.
And then the one in Doris's room was a car that passed by.
Yeah, so we don't always put them all up, but we want to put at least one up, let you all know that we do catch these things. So now we're going to switch to camera 2. And camera 2 had a couple of interesting sound effects, and we want to.
This was the one in Lulu's room, right?
That's the one in Lulu's room, and we had a really interesting. I won't say it's a voice. To me, it sounds more like a growl. But we're gonna play it for you, and then we can discuss it. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. That was in Lulu's room, and what does everybody think about that so far?
That one was creepy.
It was, wasn't it?
Probably one of our loudest ones we caught, too.
Yeah, I agree.
It was right on the mic.
Right on the mic.
Had to be up dead center on it. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, it was, okay, is this the same camera that earlier in the night we had set it up? And we're trying to figure out where it was because it was pointed towards the door.
Exactly.
They'd gotten moved.
Somebody had bumped it or had gotten moved. And this was funny because we're sitting there looking in the software at Command Central going, where the hell is this camera at? What's it looking at? It's looking at a door. And we knew we were picking up something, but...
Because there's no outlets in Lulu's room.
Yeah.
But it's in the room next door.
And that provided... And we shot clear across the whole length of the room.
So... when we were originally setting up, that's where I set it up at.
Well, the funny thing is we deployed about 5 cameras, and here's the problem we ran into. We can only get 2 of them to record data to the software. And we believe it's a software issue. We're not 100% sure. We're going to experiment and work that out before our next investigation. But certainly what we did catch was worth every bit of it. I mean, it was really good. So any comments on this before we move on? So,
yeah, I know we're trying to make it sound like words. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there are words there.
It may not have been. It's very guttural. It's very, very throaty. It's got a really, it doesn't really sound like a vocabulary or picking out any kind of word. It just...
Right. And then you have vocal matrixing.
Yes.
So if you think, I think I hear this word, you're going to automatically start to hear that word.
One way or another.
Right.
Yeah. So it makes a difference. Okay. Well, the next thing we're going to lead into and talk about as we start to get toward the end of this podcast, I call it the night of no rest. There's a trend in a lot of the investigations that a lot of different groups are doing. And one thing we found out was for years we would go out, we'd get there about 8 o'clock, set up and be running by 9. We'd investigate to about 4 a.m. and pack up. And we found out that sometimes that's just not long enough. Spirits work off of energy. It's a theory we have. And it's a working theory. We think it's pretty accurate. And we know that they get tired after a while. A lot of times, a lot of groups that go, wow, the energy died. And we used to be really bad at this. The energy died down. We're done. We're out of here.
Leave.
And yeah, they pack up and leave. And then when the spirits get their energy back, it's like, where the hell did they go? We were still talking. And so I think we lose out on some of that. So we stayed all night, and we decided not to leave till the sun came up. And this is probably one of our first investigations where we actually slept through. Now, a couple of things I want to point out, and this is where it gets to be fun as a setup, because Ted told us that, the front of Randolph Asylum is the superintendent's quarters. And the last words he told me, as long as all the doors are shut, they never come up here because they respect the superintendent's area. And we'll talk why that didn't work well for us. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. And Eric's grinning because this is all fun stuff from here on out. And a lot of this is personal experience. But I'll tell you, we get... So what happened? Go ahead. You want to say?
I thought you were going to say it was Eric's fault because,
No.
I did. I propped the door open.
No. I tell you what. The funny thing is, if you don't have a few good things that happen or interesting things, it isn't worthwhile. And honestly, dear God, this got fun because it was about, would you say 3 o'clock? Anybody got about 3:30?
It was closer to 4.
Yeah, because I think on the log it says about 3:45, 3:50 we started winding down.
Yeah.
And we decided because, the activity started to fall off. I think we wore them out. They need to build up energy. And they did.
After the morgue session, I was done and I was in the chair.
Yep. So.
And there's no way that I was going to go up to the second floor sleeping area.
Yeah. Well, they had mattresses and beds.
Oh, great area.
Yeah, we brought sleeping bags or blankets to cover up in, and we were told we could go up there. And it was one room big enough, all of us could have been in it.
Yeah.
And it'd been fine, but nobody really felt like leaving the room.
No.
So on the first floor, you had what would have been the dining room, and it had a pass-through at one time, went to the kitchen. And the kitchen was attached. And the bad thing with the kitchen was there was one door that went to the bathroom, with the smallest bathroom in the world. Even Superman couldn't have changed there. And then you had the door to the basement. And it was right there inside that kitchenway. And then that was the hallway it led over to, and each floor, I want to paint this out, has 2 entrances. It has a woman's side and a men's side entrance to the hallway. As long as the doors are closed, that doesn't happen. So it became a mutually agreed practice at that point that no one was going upstairs and we weren't going to relocate. So there's all kinds of lazy boy recliners and different comfortable chair sleeping. So we decided we would sleep in that room. Now there across the hall, there's a formal living room. We never even turned the lights on, went in there. We
did go in there.
Oh, did you?
Andrew,
it was
Sarah,
nice.
And I went in there and did a little session. We didn't really have much happen.
Okay.
Except my laser grid did turn itself off.
Ah. Well, I know, and everybody always says, well, you had this and you had that. Why didn't you deploy it? Well, every investigation is different. We judge which tools we put out where. So anyway, we set this up. Everybody had blankets, and we were going to sit down. And I think I was in the back corner in a chair, and I could sleep anywhere. That's the wonderful thing about military training. You can sleep anywhere. I think Sarah's to my left, and then Heather, and then
me
Eric.
and Sarah shared a couch.
Yeah, Andrew
and Justin had left.
Yeah,
and a blanket.
Yeah,
you guys were all in that far corner.
Yeah, and then poor Jen was in my far right, over in another corner in a lazy boy,
all by myself,
all by herself, and you had
with a direct line of sight to the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't shut the doors. I think the only door going was to the kitchen. There was a door there. No, there wasn't.
No, I don't think there were.
No, I think there was doors on either one. I don't think we could have shut them. So anyway, we kind of had this open air operation. Now, the first thing happened is Julie and Lori had left, and Justin and Andrew stayed a little longer, and they had left. So once I walked them out, got them in their car, and got them safe. I mean, bear in mind, we're in the middle of nowhere in Winchester, Indiana. There wasn't a mugger standing there waiting to get anybody. It was pretty safe. It was more about wildlife and making sure they could see to get in the car and they didn't drop anything. So that left all the rest of us to spend the night. And so began the long evening. So when we closed out, we had a few pieces of equipment. Now, a couple of anomalies I want to point out. We had 6 recorders in total. Let's see. Yeah, 6. I put SD cards in each one. I put batteries in each one. Somehow, strictly by luck, we used the same recorder all night. Now, we should have dropped some dead mics and other things, and we didn't do that, and we will do that next time. But somehow or another, everybody kept picking up the same recorder, which is great when you're reviewing evidence. Everything's on the same SD card. I kept thinking, we lost something. We violated our data handling policy. Something's wrong. And I realized we just, out of the stroke of luck, every time we picked up the same recorder. So we should have left that run. The worst thing we did, and we could have got a lot more evidence, I think, is not leaving that run while we slept.
Yeah.
So the first thing that happened, and I'm going to let Jen, and I think Heather noticed it, because I remember they woke me and Jen says, can you hear them? They're walking around.
Yeah. So let's talk about the doors again real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all the doors are to remain shut. And on our initial walk tour, we left the women's side, 2nd floor, and then went into the men's side, 2nd floor, to go up to the attic. And you were the last one to come through. And you shut that door, 2nd floor, women's side, tight.
Yep.
And when I came down, I was the first one down from the attic, and I come back into that main area, and that door is open. So I go in and I shut it because I know we're supposed to keep them all shut.
Yeah.
And then I said, wait a second. And then I said, Chief, did you shut that door? And you said, yeah, I shut that door.
Yeah, because I had to fool with the lock. I had a problem with the lock, and I started leaning into it. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's it, idiot. Break the door someplace we don't own.
Right.
And I got thinking, I better leave it alone.
So that door was already opened when we came down from the attic. So right off the bat, again, the shadow figures down in the basement, and now we've got a door opening.
Yes.
And then just before we were getting ready to sleep, and I'll use that term loosely because there's no way I slept one iota, the basement door in the kitchen had been open.
Yeah.
And I was trying to go over to close it, and I could not then this was after the Estes session in the morgue. I could not make myself close that door. And I went to Eric and I said, Eric, go over and shut that door.
Yeah.
And Eric shut the basement door.
Very reluctantly, might we add.
Right. And we shut the door to the women's side first.
And I would have walked with him, but when you guys said something, I noticed he was kind of hesitant. I said, "Do you need me to go with you?" I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm just going to shut the Christmas door, or the basement door." I thought, "Oh hell, he doesn't need me." I mean, it's 10 feet off, and I just went ahead and went back to where I was doing. I didn't think about walking over there with him. I felt bad about it. Yeah.
But then later on, we discovered that those doors, first floor, women's side, and the basement, those doors got opened again.
Now, Eric.
During the night.
Tell me about the door. I know you closed it and you were kind of reluctant. Did you? You didn't see anything, did you?
No. And so we had left the women's side first floor door open because we were trying to do the Wi-Fi thing. We were we were dealing with all that.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out line of sight because we moved the router down that hall a bit away from the computer.
Yep. But eventually we closed it. Man, I was just like, that was the second most terrifying thing of the night. I don't know why. When I went in there, it was dark, and I was just like, I looked down the hall, and it felt like people were all staring out the doors from at me, and I was just like, okay. I kicked the rug had, kept keeping it open, and scooted back, and that's also when I closed the basement door.
Right.
And you guys, it was open in the morning, wasn't it?
It was open in the morning.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Sierra slept any, but of course, Eric and Chief
not after the
can
radio.
sleep anywhere. And
I slept.
Heather slept. Me, no. There's absolutely. I barely even closed my eyes the entire 2.5 hours we were there, and I was so hypervigilant. And all of a sudden, about 5-ish or thereabouts?
Oh, when they started walking?
When they start, and I heard banging coming from the basement. Now, I didn't know at this point that basement door had been opened, had gotten reopened.
Yeah.
But it had to have for me to hear the banging from the basement. And then I heard noises down the male hallway, what I assumed, because I didn't leave the dang chair. No. And that's when I woke Chief up like, do you hear them? There's
I could hear
noise
them on the stairs. You know, because it was different when they walked down the hall. It was a very constant pace and interval, and then all of a sudden, when they got on the stairs, the footsteps got heavier.
And of course,
they're going up and down the stairs.
That stair noise is very obvious because we heard it earlier in the evening, didn't we, Chief? We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, we did. Actually, we wanted to buy some T-shirts to help support the place, and I'll tell you, if you go to pay, other people say, "Well, I already paid a fee. What else do you want me to do?" Well, these places take a lot of money to support. And actually, right now, we are supporting, and this probably will come out after the fact.
No, it'll come out the day before.
Okay, day before.
There's one more day to help support Jason.
So Jason Halls of TAPS is trying to save the Conjuring House, and he's asking for donations. He stepped in reluctantly. He didn't really want to do it, but he stepped in, and he's trying to save this. We're trying to buy it as a group, and let Perron be able to ensure they put it out for all the investigators to be able to use and doesn't get caught in some sort of TV flim flam. So, he is doing a GoFundMe page, and we have links to that on our site. So please take a look. And as a team, we're going to probably donate something there for him.
But these historic places need help to stay open and functional and keep the restoration process going, because this is our history.
We go over to get the T-shirts, and we walk in. It's a storage room. As we walk by the stairs, someone comes down the stairs, although there's no one there. And Andrew looks at me and goes, "There's someone on the stairs." I go, yeah. And, you hear him.
Standing
and
right
I said,
there.
"Hello." I said, "Come on down. We're getting T-shirts," and we kind of laughed. But it was very clear someone was coming down from the second story to the main floor.
And, of course, we had put the recorder away because we were doing business, not investigating.
Yeah, and at that point, we really hadn't started. Now, the funny thing was I had to get up. Being diabetic, I have to go to the bathroom occasionally with medication. So I got up earlier part before the stairs and went to the bathroom. I went through the kitchen, and the door was closed then. It was closed. One thought on my mind had nothing to do with the door. I was thinking, I should have brought Pop-Tarts. Military operates on Pop-Tarts. Anyway, but I couldn't find Pop-Tarts anywhere. I got thinking, shit, we don't have any of those. And so I went on through and went to the bathroom and came back, and it was closed. I remember looking at it on the way through, and it wasn't open. So it had to open after the fact. So I know you shut it. I know I saw it closed. So when the stairs and that activity picked up, it had to be open thereafter.
It had to have opened up at that point.
Yeah. So, and I remember when you woke me, because I was sitting there listening real quietly, and, I could hear. Oh, it was very clear. And then we could hear, it sounded like someone going down the stairs to the basement. Reason why is, when you listen for footsteps on a stairs going up, you're having to pull your body up, and it generally isn't that loud. As when you go down, you're pushing your energy down, all your weight down on your feet. It's usually heavier footfalls going down than it is up. You kind of learn this when you go through, evaluating evidence. And you could tell someone was going down in the basement. And then the next one was the one I think it really unnerved Sierra. I had left 2 of the handheld radios out. And all of a sudden, one of them squelched. It was just a couple, 2 or 3 seconds. And Sierra woke me up and said, "Did you hear that?" I go, "Yeah." I mean, I don't ever sleep 100%, even when I'm at home. So I hear things. I can hear things.
It's annoying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, I'm very, I know it's...
Did you hear that? No, I was asleep.
Yeah, or I'll ask her, she'll go over to get the dog. I go, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm picking up the dog, putting it on the bed." Okay. And,
or I'm putting her down on the bed. On the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. That's just, it's embedded in me, and that's how I sleep. And that's a good night's sleep for me. I mean, And, but anyway, she says, "Did you hear that?" And I'm going to let her tell it from here on out.
Yeah, that was really scary. We were all just like, it was really quiet. We were all sleeping.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Chief said, we heard a noise. We weren't sure what it was at first, but then after thinking about it a little bit while we realized it was the radio. And Chief just thought someone forgot to turn it off, but it turns out they were all off.
Yep.
So it wasn't just like an accidental, someone might have hit the button. Someone actually used their energy to make a noise.
I think a bunch of them came in and said, "Well, the door's open. That means we're okay to come through." And they all looked around and go, "Hey, watch this. Watch them move. Watch this." And
okay, so if the radios were turned off, then it couldn't have been squelched by a passing CB.
No, it had to be enough energy to energize the radio long enough to hit the key. The squelch key, basically, the radios are automatically squelched to the point there's no static. If you go down to the basic open channel, and I don't want to get into the heavy-duty ends of radio, but essentially they're made that way so we don't pick up all the static. But you can actually hold the key in. If someone's broadcasting to you and the signal's so weak, because it's automatically squelched, you may miss it. So it has a button that you can hold in and listen to the open frequency and get all the background static.
Okay.
Something pushed that button for all practical purposes for about 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, and because she asked me, she said, "What is that?" And I said, "That's a radio squelch." I said, "Someone squelched the radio." And she goes, "Do we leave any out?" And I go, "No, they're at the end of the table." And I don't think that helped her any.
Which was like 3 feet from you?
4 feet from where she was sitting.
They were right. They were really close to us.
Yeah, and I think I hated it. That's the first time she learned that I just go back to sleep after that point.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
We both did. We're like, okay.
Yeah, and then
Jennifer and I were just like,
Yeah. We're just sitting there wide-eyed, waiting until the sun comes up.
Feel free to wake me. Yeah, at that point, I go back to sleep. And so I think me and Eric probably got about the same time. About the time sunlight came in, I started adjusting, getting up, and
that's when we found out the doors were open again.
Yeah, because actually, I think you went out, Eric, to they had a Jacob's ladder that was for display because both the guys that own it are electricians, and they'd made one up, and it was pretty cool. And we'd fooled with it earlier. Well, he went to go use it, and earlier in that night, and he tried again, and it wasn't working. I said, "Well, shut the door. The energy's being zapped by the entities who are using it." He shut the door, and wasn't 5-6 minutes later, and it ran just fine because it cut that energy stream off. But I think a lot of it certainly, there was a lot there, and my God, I wished we had a recorder running.
Yeah,
I really
the
do.
female side was darker than the male side.
Yes, because especially
the female hallways were the freakiest.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you, and of course, one thing we didn't mention, one of the day rooms apparently for a movie. They shot a movie there, right? At one point,
they did. Yeah. The lady in the wedding dress.
Yeah, they had a mannequin in a wedding dress that looks out one window. Yeah. And it was always kind of funny because when you come into that room, if you didn't remember she was there, it was always a good startle point. But I'll tell you, out of any we've done this year, I think I like this one the best. I mean, I like Waverly, don't get me wrong. I like it differently. Let's put it that way.
I agree with you. Yeah. Like I said, I was expecting this intensity at Waverly, and I didn't get that intensity.
Yeah.
Waverly was calming. It was reassuring. It felt
more secure.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I walked down the hall in the dark in Waverly. I never, ever thought I would have done that. There's no way I would walk in the dark hall at Randolph. No way.
Well, Waverly kind of gave me the feeling of like looking at ghosts behind glass, like being in a zoo. You were safe, secure. You were on that side of the glass. You could walk through, and I mean, maybe everybody has a different opinion, but it was different than what this was. This, you were in the cage with the animals.
Yeah, I'm going to say I was completely unprepared. I don't think I went in with any sort of.
You're not going to broadcast that, are you?
What? No. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Hopefully nobody saw that.
Yeah.
So no. Anyways,
we're on video too.
You need to keep that.
Yeah.
No.
Another one for the blooper file.
I think I went in there and underestimated. I really did not expect any sort of intensity like that. And so I don't think I went in with any mental preparation. And that's what got me, because it was just like, I was a little kid at my brother's house. Right. And it was, if you listen to the episode where I was in, that was my moment. And I was taken back to, I was 8 years old and I was a scared little kid. I'm telling you, I was completely unprepared. And I want to go back to
oh God, yes.
So
yes,
bad.
Yes.
With a different mental attitude, with respect. I think I need to go in with the respect of, this place really is haunted, and it's got some heaviness to it. Go in with a mental preparation, do a lot of things differently, but we've got to go back, and I don't want to wait a long time.
I don't either, because I need to. I need to overcome what happened in the morgue, because I've never had a situation like that. I've never had something stop me before. And
my whole goal is to train Sierra to sleep through all this stuff. We just have to.
That would be lovely. 'Cause I can't even sleep normally.
No, it was the. Yeah, it was one of the best places we've ever been.
I mean, your morgue thing was so scary, you wouldn't even tell me about it when you came up.
No,
and until the sunlight.
Oh, that makes it worse, doesn't it? When they come up, and they don't want to talk about it.
So the first thing I said was, "Let's keep this low key for Sierra."
You're like,
yeah. No, I said, let's keep this low key for Sierra. Let's not tell her. And I freaking held Eric's hand on the way out and up the stairs, for crying out loud. It was intense.
These places. They bring that out, and that's what's so fun. And when people go, "Oh my God, how the hell you call that fun?" Well, I used to have a friend, and I still do. I haven't talked to him in years. He runs a theatrical haunted house, and years and years ago, I lived near where he was at. And he used to always tell me, he says, "Well, you want to go through? I'll let you go through for free." I said, "It really doesn't hold much of an interest to me." I said, I said, having people run out and jump out and scream at you, it kind of reminds me of my divorces. I said, it really doesn't do much. I said, but appreciate it. I said, but I'll tell you what, I'll go through yours if you come through one of mine. He says, "Oh, no way in hell." And, so for us, this is what we live for.
Yeah.
For, I don't go to theatrical haunted houses. I just never been one that enjoys those. And, I just don't. And to each his own. But I mean, this is what I live for. And I mean, certainly, I've always sat and thought, if you're a skeptic, all I need is one night in a place like this or one of these locations, and I can prove you wrong.
Yep.
I really can.
I'd agree.
I mean, I really can.
Especially this place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Without
So I'm going to ask everybody a few things here before we wrap up. Overall, what did Randolph feel like for you? We'll start with Jennifer.
Intense. Randolph felt foreboding. Yeah.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, I hate to use the word oppressive, because I don't want to say it's dark energy. There is some in that morgue area, but like it's just super intense, and it made me, I'm trying to go into this and I'm trying to look at things scientifically, but I lost my cool, and I want to go back. I want to challenge it and go, hey, come in with respect. Let's go with a different mental attitude. Don't let it scare you. Let's approach it scientifically. But yeah, intense is the word.
Yeah. Sierra?
Yeah, I have to kind of reiterate what they say. It was really scary. I thought maybe I just had hyped myself up a little bit, rewatching some of the videos online, going into it, thinking I just, overdid it. But I remember asking does it get any easier? Because it was only my second time out, and I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, we take you on a private investigation, just to something small like a private home. Yeah, you're not going to know what to do now.
No.
Yeah, it'll be quite a bit different. Heather?
I don't know. Maybe I'm the odd man out. I didn't. There was some odd spots, but overall, it wasn't, foreboding or, what did you say? Oppressive. I had fun. I liked it. So, and I'm looking forward to go back.
Well, I think we both, all of us, can sit around and think about experiments we want to run the next time we're through. Before we go with the next round of questions, I wanted to point something out. If you're a novice investigator and this is, you're thinking, wow, this ought to be the place to start, I'm going to caution you a lot.
I don't think this might be a good
not a
place to start.
first-time starter. I'll tell you why, because one, I don't think anybody been comfortable with one or two people. I think really you need a team. If you're a seasoned investigator, even then, having seen what you've seen, base minimum 3 or 4 people. I mean, you need that not only to collaborate what you see, but you need that just for reassurance because, I hate to say it, it's no different than defending yourself on the street. If you're by yourself, you're easier target than you are with 4 or 5 people. Unfortunately, I didn't really notice any dark spirits. I like what Eric said. I really didn't, but I bet there's a few there. And they would certainly single you out if they had the opportunity. Anytime you get anything that starts with asylum or hospital, there's a good chance that they have some dark spirits.
It just dawned on me is not oppressive, but overly protective.
There you go.
Overly
that's a good,
protective.
I hadn't thought
That's
about that.
their
That's a good
space.
feel. Yeah, that's their space.
That's their security.
And it meant a lot to them. They fought long and hard to keep that space. So, something to think about. What was the most frightening experience or most frightening place within Randolph, Jennifer?
The morgue.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, probably the morgue or, honestly, the women's side when it was in the middle of the night and it was just me going in there to close that door.
The kitchen at night.
That was pretty scary.
Outstanding. Sarah?
Yeah, probably the basement as a whole or even the attic. I never went back up after our tour, and I was not upset that I never went back up there.
I agree with Sarah. The attic. After our tour, that was enough for me.
Well, and I'll tell you, the one thing is, did everybody have a good time?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if you want to go back, you've had a good time. So, well, folks, as we start to wrap this up, I hope you enjoyed what we presented tonight. And certainly, I hope this was entertaining and informing. If you have questions, feel free to drop them at info@spiritindiana.com. Again, if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to our website, www.spiritindiana.com. Go to the tab that says social media and click on the YouTube icon. That will take you to the YouTube page. We are available on all formats. And if you are having trouble, go to that same page, click on the Ghost to Ghost podcast emblem, and that should take you immediately to Buzzsprout, which is our providing company, and it has all of ours listed, and they do provide a player there. We also have fan mail there, but if you would like to reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or on certainly on the email, please do so. And that's all we have tonight. I hope you've truly enjoyed it. I know we had a very good time there, and we look forward to bringing you some more. This will not be the only video for podcast that we're going to do, but it'll probably be the only one for a while. We're eventually getting to there, and we hope to develop that, but we hope you enjoy what you got to see. So everybody give it a wave, and good night, folks.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to Ghost to Ghost. Again, I'm your host, Chief Lawson. You can find Ghost to Ghost on all major formats on the 15th and 30th of the month at midnight. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, maybe have a question or subject you'd like to ask about on air or be used on the show, please email us at ghosttoghost@spiritindiana.com, ghosttoghost@spiritindiana.com. I want to thank my production staff on Spirit, Jennifer Verne, our research manager and our producer, and Heather Lawson, our trainer on Spirit and our podcast director, for helping make these podcasts possible. My chief of staff, Andrew Brooks, for his guidance and help on the scripts, and everyone else involved. Thank you so much. See you next time. Until then, stay safe and remember the truth is out there. Good night. Ghost to Ghost podcast and its contents is the property of Spirit Paranormal Ltd., all rights reserved. We welcome you to download and play the podcast and share with others for personal use. You may not, except with written permission, use or distribute its contents for commercial use. Spirit Indiana Paranormal, covering the Hoosier State since 2002, Indy's oldest parapsychology investigation group. If you're experiencing what you believe to be paranormal issues, reach out to us for help at www.spiritindiana.com or call our hotline at 317-883-9103. Again, that is www.spiritindiana.com or our hotline at 317-883-9103. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself and the ones you love, and be safe out there.